Big breaking news tonight. As you heard from the judge, it was audio only inside the courtroom today, but a jury has been seated in the next big trial right here on your front row seat to justice, which means first thing Monday morning, turn on Court TV. You got a brand new trial. It's the case against James Addie. It's out of Missouri. James Addie accused of murdering his fiancee 2 days before their wedding. But why on earth would you murder, or allegedly murder, your fiancé 2 days before the wedding? Well, the fact that you're married to someone else and you've been married to someone else for 22 years might be the argument used by prosecutors. Julie Janae has the story tonight.
April 29th, 2018 was supposed to be one of the happiest days in Molly Watson's life. She was going to marry James Addie, a man she had been dating for 7 years. She never lived to see that day. Her body was discovered 2 days earlier in this remote area of Monroe County, Missouri.
How would you describe this area where Molly's remains were found? Is it a creek? Is it a swamp? Is it a dirt road? What exactly is going on here?
It is a very remote part of the county. Route M is on the way toward a little town called Middle Grove, which has a very small school district of about 40 or 50 students. It's in Amish country, so it's really far, far out of the way. Just a very remote area of the county.
According to police, a witness saw 2 cars by this creek and a man acting suspiciously. It looked like he was having a hard time backing his vehicle down the road.
So the witness said, police, he said, I thought something was strange. So he went around the other way and came back. And just before 10 o'clock, he saw Molly Watson's body lying in front of her car.
Watson had been shot to death. The investigation into the shooting led police to her fiancé, James Addie. They would soon discover a secret that he was keeping from Watson.
He had been married, though, for 22 years.
James Addie was still married when he became engaged to Watson. The two met at Moberly State Prison, where Addie and Watson were corrections officers. Watson eventually left the job to pursue a career in counseling. Police say they were planning a wedding at the Stony Creek Hotel in Columbia.
James Addie lived in a town probably about 30 miles away south on the Audrain County line going toward Mexico, Missouri. And Molly lived almost the opposite direction. She lived west of Moberly in a town called Huntsville, so they're quite a distance apart. But they were he obviously was living a double life from what the police say.
According to the probable cause statement, when investigators confronted him about already being married, Addie said, quote, "I got myself involved in something I shouldn't have." According to police, Addie told them he had not seen Watson since April 24th, but had spoken to her on the phone the evening of April 27th, the same night her body was found.
Here's a critical part of evidence. The police saw tire tracks at the crime scene.
Muddy tire prints at the scene were allegedly traced to Addie's car, evidence the defense tried unsuccessfully to keep out of the trial.
Back in December, the judge, after about an hour-long hearing, said, nope, I'm going to allow this. It's good evidence. It'll be part of the case.
A case of first-degree murder against James Addie for the death of Molly Watson.
Wow, is all I have to say. Let's bring back in our guest, Lenita Baker. Lara Uretzian still with us. First of all, for James Addie's wife, she's going to be an important, or ex-wife now, important witness. Can you imagine you're married for 22 years and like within the same time period you find out that your husband's been arrested for murder and he's been seeing someone else for 1/3 of your marriage and he was supposed to marry her in 2 days? This is mind-boggling, Lenita.
Very much mind-boggling. It's almost the script of a bad movie, but it's going to be interesting. In looking at the probable cause statement, I wondered, and I see the witness is still unnamed. I hope that the prosecutor has that witness and that witness has identified Addie. Otherwise, I think we're working on a tire print match.
Yeah, and just a tire print may not be enough. Now, Lara Uretzian, I've covered some cases before involving men who were leading double lives, you know, married to one person and starting a relationship with another one. There was a case early 2000s. There was a guy in Modesto. I think he was in the manure business or something. Had a beautiful wife named Lacey, and he started dating another beautiful woman named Amber. Do you recall that case?
Kind of. So since you're talking about the Peterson case, and I was on that case, this does remind us eerily of that case. I mean, we have very similar facts, and the interesting thing is that but in this case, you've got the body from the beginning, and we know exactly what the cause of death is, which we did not have in the Peterson case.
But let me ask you this, Lara. Let me ask you this, Lara. How much of a hurdle is it for James Addie and his defense team to try to gain some credibility when you've got a wife and you've got the girlfriend on the side? Like, a man that cheats on his wife, that doesn't make him a murderer, but you're starting not in a good spot in front of a jury, right?
Exactly. You know that the jury's not going to like this man. In this case, you've got the woman he's having an affair with that I'm guessing doesn't even know about the wife that's been shot and killed, and you've got his tire tracks kind of putting him at the scene of the crime. I'm guessing there's got to be more to the case. It can't just be the tire tracks and this evidence that he was having an affair with her while hiding the fact that he was married for 22 years with someone else. There's got to be more to it. Maybe he's made some statements. Maybe there's phone records that can place him at the scene, cell site information. But I don't think the tire tracks are going to be enough. And I don't think just hating him because he's had an affair is going to be enough. I expect more evidence to come out in this case.
Lenita, I think the most dramatic moment in this case is going to be when Addie's ex-wife gets on the witness stand to talk about where her husband was at the time of the murder, because he's not home, and she told police initially, even before she knew what this whole thing was about, that he wasn't home. That's going to be a dramatic moment.
Yeah, and I think in the probable cause statement, it said that he said he drove somewhere else, but the person he went to see also was not there. So he doesn't necessarily have an alibi witness. And I think also very damning is that he parked in the garage, and his wife said, or ex-wife said, it's not normal for him to park in the garage. So was he trying to hide his car and any evidence that might be in the car? But I agree with Laura, is there's got to be, there's still, even with the tire print, the car given by the witness is different, a Buick versus a Mercury Sable. Are they close enough? So, but I'm hoping that they have some cell phone records able to ping him into that area. They did say he had two separate phones for his two different lives. So, but he doesn't have an alibi witness.
No alibi, and the former Mrs. Addie will not be an alibi witness. Lara, I'm wondering if there will be some sort of soil expert that can talk about and maybe match the mud that's in his tires with the mud that came from the area where Molly was murdered. I mean, is that a stretch in terms of expertise, or have you ever seen that done?
I don't think it's a stretch. It's very possible. I mean, you could take it into a lab and try and see if whatever is in the mud that's on his tire, if it matches the mud that's in the area. I don't think that's a stretch in any way. You just have to have the right people doing the work and bring in the right experts for it. Just like we've got experts for cell site, just like you've got experts for tire tracks. It's similar. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be battle there. There's going to be all sorts of emotions. Maybe they've already battled it out. I don't know. But it's possible. Why not?
Yeah, and ultimately, if he's convicted, he'll end up in state prison and could end up with some of his former, what do they call them, clients, or whoever he used to guard. Now he'll be one of them. That's incredibly ironic when we look at all this. Lenita Baker, Lara Uretzian on this Friday night. Awesome job as always. Appreciate your insight, expertise. Please come back soon.
Thank you for having us.